This is FTC, and we're going to be doing the last of the losers bracket, round 4, at least that last. I will be covering losers bracket number 42, between ZX Project on top and Lijj on bottom. ZX Project is Underdog the Thief, which is mostly a Charmer and a Breaker. Northstar the Monk, damage. Backpack the Chemist, support, mostly haste as well as resurrection. Rescue the Knight, damage, and also support in the form of heal, Throw Stone, and Wish, mostly Wish. Then we have Lijj's team, or I like to call it Mondo's B team. We have Lijj the Lancer, which is meant for heavy damage. Mondo the Knight, which is meant to distract opponents with abandon, making it hard to hit as well as heal. Marlena the Oracle, which is supposed to be very hard to kill physically thanks to her multiple forms of tanking and draw out for like 180 off Kiku. And Lilith the Priest, which is there mostly for support, though she can also deal damage. No. I call this Mondo's B team because A, Lijj's team was A, designed by Mondo, and B, used very similar principles. You see 2 units, physical units that are very tanky that charge in. He has a unit that has abandon, and has insanely high P and MEV. And then you have a squad that's very, very capable of resurrecting itself. In each case, he usually has either 3 to 4 units capable of resurrection. In any case, let's go on to the pre-battle analysis. When it comes to HP or outright tanking, this is what Lijj's team is built for. As you can see, not only does the majority of his squad have higher HP than his opponent, he also is much more capable of healing for more HP over outright and more HP at range. And damage too also favors Mondo. Even at neutral compat, that Lancer can one-shot, I think, that Lancer can one-shot every member of the opponent team except the Knight. When you add in compats, it becomes even better, because that Lancer and Thief have best compat, and they also have good compat with the Knight and the Monk, which means that Lancer can deal a lot of damage to virtually everybody. Similarly, that Oracle and that Priestess have good compat with the Chemist, and that allows, which is fairly useful in getting rid of that support unit. And like I said, Kiku does 180, that Lancer does 300 some, and the Knight, because of compats, averages like 200 something. Compared to the other team, the only unit on the other team that's reasonably capable of dealing damage is that Monk, who I think hits 370 after compats. Which isn't enough to hits 370 against the 2 Knights, and only 300 against the other 2, which would only KO the Priestess, because the Oracle has multiple forms of defense up and stuff. In terms of status, however, because of the best compats, that Thief will become ZX Project's best friend and likely only method of winning if he is to win this, because she can charm the 2 enemy Knights at, I think, 60-some%. She can break their stuff at around, I think, at nearly 90%, and she can just overall be very, very annoying. Similarly, luck also favors him because of the good compat between the Chemist and the 2 females on the other squad. ZX Project can easily pull off, say, a stop or a slow proc, and essentially turn a battle that was 4-on-4 into 4-on-2. And of course, you can't neglect counter flood off that night. Synchronization favors ZX Project slightly, only because, to be honest, both squads are fairly well built for the AI, are fairly well synchronized for the AI for doing what they want. But Lijj's team may separate itself simply because it has 6-5-4-3 move, where the 3 move unit is the right mage, and on a big enough map that might be a problem, but it's still better than the last squad ZX Project faced. So, with that being said, let's actually start the match. The first map is going to be map 28. Coilery Underground, first floor. Okay. And so it begins. Thief goes first, and goes for damage rather than breaking because of its best compat. Lancer goes in, and one-shots the Thief. The Thief is brought back up by a Phoenix down, so notice that because the Chemist had to bring back the Thief, She had no time to do anything else. But of course, the Lancer that charged first is now charmed. And then brought down by the monk. There was no... Apparently charm was redundant, but the AI likes to be redundant. Okay. Despite Marlena's protections, she's probably going to die from that monk simply because of the damage split damage that she took. And that's a... I'm not sure what that is. I think that's a cure. And the Lancer has no shield, so shield break brings him down. Walking to cure 3 range, all the units that were harmed now are now healed on ZX Project's team, and that Priestess is going to go down hard. Muramasa now hits 3 units, but brings down nobody. And damage split causes her to take even more damage. Headbreak misses, simply because that's neutral from path there. But the Knight tries to pull off a slow, and it works. Okay, so it's already 4-on-2 in favor of ZX Project. Despite his relatively lower damage, that Lancer rushing forward was probably a mistake on this map. But it's not over yet. Earth Slash again, because of Abandon, that monk really can't actually hit the Knight, but that Knight's forced to sandbag the entire round, so it's not like his high damage capacity will do anything. And Lilith is forced to heal again. Is she going to get mid-charged again? Yup. Okay, so really this is 4-on, I think, 1, because there's only one offensive, well, it's technically 4-on-many, but there's only one offensive unit, and that's Marlena. And sooner or later, she's just going to get knocked down simply by the amount of force the other squad is capable of dealing. So now it's 4-on-1 against Lijj's squad, and Lijj just lost his Knight's shield, which was, I think, an Aegis shield. So, I mean, the bulk of that Knight's evasion is coming from the Feather Mantle, or physical evasion at least. So it's not like it matters too much, but 4-on-1 is not, and when the Knight's only capable of using Phoenix down, I would say this is over. And the Feather Mantle is still okay, so the Knight's Abandoned evasion is now completely useless. He's just going to be taken down now. Underdog will make sure no one who's Phoenix down will come back up. Her speed makes sure that it's pretty much guaranteed that will happen. And North Star is busy just making sure no one on the squad actually gets killed. If that Knight gets stopped, and he is, this will simply be over. Beef will go in for some more breaks, head break, right? And then the Knight deals 370 damage, then 36. Okay, so ZX Project takes round 1. This is FTC, and we're going to be doing losers bracket number 42, round 2. We saw ZX Project take round 1 against Lijj because he managed to destroy Lijj's incoming Lancer, which was the only real damage dealer on Lijj's squad. Once he managed to charm and then kill the Lancer, it was simply a matter of forcing the rest of the squad out into sandbag duty, which was fairly easy since the Priestess went down and which forced the Knight to sandbag. And then the Oracle, despite her massive draw-out damage, wasn't enough to actually KO anyone. And damage split from the Chemist on ZX Project squad ensured that a good amount of damage was slipping past her. Defense up and HP regens. Let's see what happens now on map 57, Underground Book Storage, first floor. This is a map where all the units are fairly well split up, and thus should favor the squad that has the least, does not need inter-party synergy, and I would argue this is ZX Project. I mean, I would argue this is actually Lijj, because of the independent damage dealing capacity that's not dependent on haste or whatever other effects. And it seems that ZX Project's Thief is already going to get brought down by jump from the Lancer. Though if she gets hasted, maybe that won't be the case. Nope, she gets brought down anyways. But that puts the Lancer into 1-hit KO range, and he gets brought down by the Monk. Drought does 180, which is a good deal, but it may be insufficient. Okay, The Lancer's brought back up, forcing a sandbag chain, because simply to bring down that Lancer, that monk will not be able to attack the Oracle or do anything else. I think Demi 2 is being charged to kill the Lancer so that way the monk doesn't have to, which is fairly smart, but it's actually not capable of killing the Lancer, and Kiku now brings down both of them. So Lijj has an early advantage here. And the Lance is brought back to near by an X potion to near full health. Holy, because of good compat, should nail that chemist for a lot, which is almost all of her health, yes. But she damage splits that and then returns for a Demi 2, which should kill that priestess. Alright. The Lancer can't do anything. The priestess walks over and uses Muramasa, which should kill that good compat. No, it doesn't kill, but this time she doesn't get damage split. North Star, the monk, uses Earth Slash to heal that priestess, to heal that chemist for 315, which is more than her max health. So this is still anyone's game, as it's still 4-on-4 actually. And now both sides are coalescing near their allies, so there will be less. Thief runs away and doesn't do anything because she's still in critical, but is healed by the chemist. Okay. Both sides' units are pretty close to full health, and another Kiku goes off on the monk, killing him. And Steel Accessory for 48% fails. I'm not sure why that was used over other more important things, so now 3 units are in Kiku range. And due to best compat, that thief is now going to be slowed. Looks like ZX Project is at a disadvantage here, simply because his units aren't as close to being at full health as his opponent's squad. But if that priestess keeps spamming Holy over other things, that could be problematic, because she'll run out of MP. Yeah. So it's now 4-on-2, and Lijj's squad is closing in. I think ZX Project lost this one. Though now the Lancer has no armor and no headgear. He can be brought down by anyone. But as we've seen from the last match, being able to be brought down isn't enough. You have to be able to actually keep the entire squad on the defensive. And the priestess gets brought. Then the thief gets brought down again, forcing more sandbagging. But they're just trading blows until that Oracle keeps getting turns to pull off stuff like Muramasa. That's the only thing that really harms this squad. And the Lancer gets brought down again. So they're just going to keep trading blows between the two knights. One of them is going to use Phoenix down, the other one's going to use the sword. This is going to continue. Wow, no counter flood. That would have been better. And the chemist should be brought down by now, I think. And no damage split either. So Lijj is getting incredibly lucky by not having his opponent's counterattacks go off, which would actually change the character of this battle significantly. Priestess uses Moogle again rather than Holy, trusting that her Oracle can do the rest, and the Oracle's going to bring down the chemist, but she'll come back up since she has an Angel Ring. But because she was hurt, she'll use X Potion rather than Phoenix down, and the monk is too far away to heal. So that thief is gonna crystallize. This pretty much both sides are in a res loop. But because the Lancer has 10 speed, eventually the Lancer will get a turn over that knight. Yup, like now. Except, again, he misses, but eats a crystal. Oh yeah, but then again his HP is crap. It doesn't matter that he eats a crystal. But however, the Lancer is now free to attack other people because he escaped because of his higher speed. This should be over for ZX within 3 turns. That Holy was charging the Knight because the Knight didn't actually kill anyone, giving both the enemy, but giving Lijj's Knight and Wizard time to attack. Speed Ruin, I think the first one missed actually. And he finally counter floods with Kamaitachi, but I think it's a little too late for that. And another counter flood, but it's not good enough. And the Chemist is brought down, okay. And so is the Monk. So Lijj is so like I said, within 3 turns Lijj should win. This is I think turn 2 or 3, so yeah, it's almost over. Priestess attacks, counter floods, but because it's fire, she absorbs it. Ha! Smart AI there. Though I don't think the AI can see counter attacks. Just pure luck then. Knight's about to die between Kiku and Jump. Yup. So Lijj takes round 2. DC, and this is gonna be round 3 between ZX Project and Lijj. This is losers bracket number 42. This will be the last match I'll be covering for round 4 of the losers bracket. We saw Lijj take round 2 because his squad was far better at his squad was far more effective at starting separated because even though he started separated, his Lancer is capable of dealing damage regardless of whether his party is next to him or not. And Marlena the Oracle was capable of dealing drop damage regardless of whether her team was next to her or not. Those 2 factors made it so by the time ZX Project finally managed to gather his team together, he was already under heavy pressure. Yes, and even though the Lancer charging forward made him an easy target, because ZX Project was forced to spend most of his time attacking that and or raising his own units, he was never able to go back on the offensive after taking out the Lancer because of the heavy sandbagging ability from Lijj. Let's see what happens on map 3, Hall of St. Moran Temple. Why this is a small map is beyond me, but I've said that before. Okay, so Thief goes first and tries to break the weapon on Marlena, which reduces her draw-out damage by a lot. She goes for draw. Anyways, but that Thief is dead regardless because of the Lancer's jump, as we saw from last round. So there's no point using Cheer Up, you're just wasting your time, but the AI doesn't know that either. Yup, the Lancer comes down hard on that Thief. However, and then the Lancer proceeds to KO the Chemist. Okay, Marlena then uses Muramasa, which should take out, I think, 1 unit, maybe 2, but the Lancer is confused. This could work against Lijj, but then again, Remedy gets rid of it, so it doesn't. And the Priestess is going to receive a Holy Charge, even though it was charged before she was down. This is one thing the AI knows how to do. It knows how to calculate Reflect and Re-Raise. So the Chemist who came back up is going back down. And the Monk gets taken down under a hailstorm of fire. And they're going after... Surprisingly, that Thief isn't charming anyone. As we saw in the first round, that was probably... Okay, and the Knight's going to be ignored for the rest of the round. This is over. It's already 4-on-1. The Lancer gets HP Restore, which pretty much makes it so the Knight can't really even attack anyone. Okay, so the Monk is brought back up at minimal HP. And the Monk uses Chakra to make sure he doesn't die. But the Knight's gonna die instead, and more or less, no, Kiku's gonna finish him, I think. Yep. Knight goes down next turn, and this is over. Congrats, Lijj. You will advance next round. And ZX Project, I'm sorry, you've had a very good run, but you've lost.